All of a sudden, the Marlins are ice cold.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Marlins. I'm your host, Jeremiah Geiger. I've been podcasting about the Marlins for 4 seasons. Go hit me up on X at Jeremiah Geiger 2. And thank you for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every single day. Don't forget to hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. And this is a live show, so let me know your thoughts in the chat box and in the comment section, of course, if you're watching this on replay. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. The Marlins have crashed back down to earth. They were really hot. Everybody was on top of the world. Us fans were excited. You know, maybe this team, just maybe, can get into the wild card hunt. And then everything just went wrong. Everything went wrong. You get shut out. Well, before that, you lose to the Reds 7-2, in which Sandy got blown up yet again, prompting me to kind of rant here on the show because he's just been awful this season, and I have to face reality. We all have to face reality. Then they get shut out yesterday, and then today, were it not for an Otto Lopez home run in the 9th, they would have been shut out. Offense is dismal. As always, hit the comments. This one's from Virox. Do you like my profile picture? It's of LMF's Twitter profile. Yeah, I do. Elite profile choice, my friend. Edward Cabrera left the game with elbow discomfort. Talk about him in the next segment. And also Nick Forez regarding his trade value, because around the Miami Marlins fan base, you know, there's some discussions whether Nick Forez is going to provide trade value. And this is kind of a inside joke with the Marlin fan base here, because the guys at Fish on First, they were engaged in a heated discussion whether Nick Forez will bring anything back. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. But let's talk about how cold this team has been and really what it stems from. But really quickly, William Corpus here. I'm hoping it's not Tommy John for Eddie. Yeah, man, me too. I'm going to talk about Edward Cabrera in the second segment. But this first segment, we got to talk about just this team as a whole. You know, you were the talk of the town. The Marlins were the talk of the town, especially after that Twin series. You won, what was it, 10 out of your last 11, and then you're in Miami. You drop 2 out of 3 to a good Brewers team. The Brewers are good, and credit to them. Give credit where credit's due. But if you remember, for all the everyday listeners out there on the podcast, about a week ago, I said that, you know, this team this week is going to determine where they stand at the deadline. I mean, we're gonna learn a lot. We're gonna learn a lot about this team when they play the Reds and the Orioles. And what happened? You lose 2 in a row to the Reds, and you start off this Orioles series on the wrong foot by just another bad performance all the way across the board. It wasn't even competitive. You know, if you lose a tough-fought game, that's one thing. And this is what these Marlins do. They battle and they compete. But these last 3 games in particular have been really awful to watch. And it starts with the offense. Against the Orioles, you lose 5-2 the first game. You only have 5 hits. Thank goodness for Otto Lopez, who had 2 hits, including his 10th home run of the season. That's a positive for the, you know, the fan base. Hang your hat on that. Otto Lopez, the power department, he's showing up in a big way. But Nick Lodolo looks like a Cy Young contender. Dean Kramer looked like a Cy Young contender. What are we doing? What are we doing? You can't score 4 runs in 27 innings and expect to win a baseball game. Expect to just go in and let your pitching carry you, because the pitching isn't. Sandy Alcantara is not consistent this season. He's not good. Like, I'm at the point, guys, where I'm watching before I watch a Sandy start. I don't think we're gonna win. I don't have confidence that we're going to win. Cal Quantrill can't pitch 6 innings. I thought he was going to do it. Everything was lined up for Cal Quantrill to pitch 6 innings, and he couldn't do it. The 6th inning rolls around, and he's just throwing meatballs, and the Reds are teeing off on him. And that's what you signed to be a veteran innings eater, one of your starters that's supposed to come in and kind of weather the load as the season continues. And it's just he's a 4 2/3, maybe 5 inning guy. It's kind of crazy for a veteran to just not be able to give you what you're looking for. I've talked about the struggles of Sandy Alcantara. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. It's heartbreaking. But surely Edward Cabrera was going to roll into Camden Yards and throw one of his patented starts where he's striking out everybody. The control is on point, and he's continuing to gain headlines, not just from the Marlins fan base, but the national fan base as potentially a trade candidate. Somebody that could receive the biggest trade haul this season is not going to be Sandy Alcantara. It was going to be Edward Cabrera if they went in that direction. And as luck would have it, he leaves the game. 4 innings, he gets yanked, goes down into the locker room. He's seen with a trainer. Oh boy. Oh boy. Here we go. And all of a sudden, as Marlins fans, we're sitting here shocked because not only did Cabrera, not finish the game healthy, he left with elbow discomfort. He went 4 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. So it wasn't his best start statistically either. Got a lot of questions surrounding Edward Cabrera, and I'm ready to answer them all on this live edition of Locked On Marlins. Going to do the ad read real quick and then get right back into it. Stay with me, guys. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If it's you who's a trade professional or maybe a family member or friend, I highly encourage you to recommend the Trade Master program. It's absolutely free and it offers exclusive perks like dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals have taken their turn, and now it's yours. So join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Welcome back into Locked On Marlins, the second segment. I'll be talking about Edward Cabrera. Edward Cabrera leaves the Baltimore Orioles game with elbow discomfort, posterior elbow discomfort. It doesn't sound good, but I'm going to talk about what that means. But really quickly, I just want to say, if you haven't subscribed to the show, hit that subscribe button, leave me a like. It helps me out a lot here on the channel. So a lot of questions in the comments for this one. Virox, if Cabby's injury puts him on the injured list, do you believe that Snelling or McSweeney would get called up? I don't think Snelling or McSweeney would get called up if he goes on the IL. And I say that because the Marlins right now have their long reliever, Valente Beozo, who can slide back into the rotation. Beozo was kind of forced to leave the rotation once Ryan Weathers came back. And then, of course, Weathers got injured. And there was a bunch of moving parts but he's stuck in the bullpen as kind of that middle relief guy, that long reliever who can just eat innings for you. I think my guess is that if Cabrera does end up on the IL, it's Valente. But we'll see what happens. David, Fish on First said maybe posterior elbow discomfort, Snelling Major time, or more Beozo. See, that's what I'm saying. I think Major has a case. Major definitely has a case to stick in the rotation. I'm kind of surprised they optioned him back to AAA after his first start. My gut says it's going to be Beozo, but I think what you would want to see from just give him a shot, from that perspective, you want to give Major a shot at some point, but Beozo has pitched really well given his time. I know he's not the flashiest guy on the mound. He doesn't have the velo, but I just think Snelling is somebody that you want to give him a few more starts in AAA. This is just somebody that I believe in. I think he has a ton of high upside and a ton of potential. I really think Robbie Snelling is the real deal, but don't rush him into a situation if you as an organization don't think he's ready. Deborah, if Cabby goes down, our season is in danger. Meyer, Weathers already gone, and now we might lose Cabby. It's not looking too good. Also, Derek Hill hasn't gotten a hit since he's returned from the IL. I did not know that Derek Hill hadn't gotten a hit. I mean, it's only been a few games, right? He came back this week. But, yeah, Derek Hill is not in the future of the Marlins' plans. He's not going to be somebody that, you rely on, and I think he's very expendable, especially with Jacob Marcy coming up, hopefully, later this season, because he's earning a call-up. Virox, Gillespie not with the org anymore. Yeah, Connor Gillespie is with the Minnesota Twins. He was DFA'd. It's crazy, right? Because Connor Gillespie was on the opening day roster. He was in the opening day rotation, and he's since been DFA'd, gone through waivers, and is now with a completely different organization. It just shows you how this Marlins season has evolved as a whole. LMF, let's get louder. Our season is in danger. This season isn't going to be a winning one regardless. Yeah, we never expected that, right? We didn't expect the good times to always continue. Of course, as a fan, I want them to. And I'm never going to be the guy that sits here on the show and says, well, yeah, we won 10 out of 11. We won 8 straight, but it's going to come crashing down. Why am I excited? Why would I have that perspective as a Marlins fan? Why would anybody want to have that perspective? You got to have fun with it, and you got to hope. Hope is a big part of why we're sports fans. At some point, we hope the Marlins become a World Series winning team again. That's what it's all about. Championships. Getting that World Series trophy. Virox. Junk shove day tomorrow. I love Jansen Junk. I think Jansen Junk has been an absolute steal for the Marlins this season. And I think that, it's a really good matchup because guess who he's pitching against tomorrow? Trevor Rogers. Trevor Rogers has turned a corner with the Baltimore Orioles. I'm happy for Trevor, and I'm really excited to watch this game because you got former Marlin now with the Orioles, and now a new Marlin who came out of nowhere. Both kind of resurrected their careers. It's great to see this to see this potential matchup. Cabrera. If I had to guess with Cabrera right now, posterior elbow discomfort. I don't think Cabrera is going to go under the knife and get Tommy John surgery. It's not damage to his UCL, which is what a lot of pitchers experience, a rupture, a tear, and they got to repair it. So they didn't mention a UCL strain or anything with that part of the elbow. But you're a pitcher, you need your elbow to do your job. So if he's sitting there experiencing discomfort and he's scheduled to throw in the All-Star breaks next week, but you probably would assume his next start would be next weekend. and they want to be careful with him. So does that mean he goes on the IL? I would guess it does. The issue with this for the Marlins is the timing is horrendous. It's awful. Edward Cabrera was your biggest trade chip, and now he has elbow discomfort, and all these teams that would be potential buyers at the deadline, they see this. They see that he got pulled out of this start early. Who knows? Are they going to be scared? Are they going to be scared off by this? Like, how serious is the elbow discomfort? Right now, it's just wait and see. We got to wait and see. And it's not a good position to be in, given the spot that the Marlins are in with their other trade candidates. Sandy Alcantara has not been good. There's no value right there for Sandy. The value was all in on Edward Cabrera. I mean, the host for Locked On Mets, Ryan Finkelstein, he's the editor over at the Just Baseball website, and he did a whole episode talking about this circled around Edward Cabrera, and now that could be potentially evaporated, gone. Jeez, it's there's a saying. Rod Allen, the broadcaster, one of the broadcasters for the Marlins, he'll say from time to time, if this player, I'm gonna use it. If the Marlins didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck at all. It's bad luck. It's just brutal. It's a gut punch. Oscar, Marlins Yapper over on X. The bats were ice cold. We had an average of 7 runs per game. Now we have scored 4 in 3. Yeah, four runs over 3 games. You're just not going to win like that, Oscar. You're not. Look, the pitching was bad. Sandy was bad. Quantrill was bad. Cabrera was bad before he got hurt. And that's kind of what the focus has been on this show, was the injury. But the offense, it's ice cold. Ice cold. You got to heat up. Somebody's got to step up. I need Agustin Ramirez. I need another bomb. And where's Jesus Sanchez's power? It feels like it's been multiple weeks without a Sanchi bomb. Unless I'm just sitting here and I can't recall. He didn't homer yesterday. He didn't homer today. Didn't homer the game before. Was it the Brewers series? I don't think he homered in. If someone can let me know when the last Jesus Sanchez home run was, I would be much appreciated, because we need that guy to step up, because he's another piece that the Marlins will be potentially looking to move at the deadline. The Mets must be desperate to have an entire episode or a possibility of a Cabrera trade. You know, the Mets have kind of gone downhill since the beginning of the season. Their pitching staff, I don't know how I feel about it. Cabrera felt like a good fit for them, obviously, but now it's up in the air. And that's the uncomfortable situation we are in, is we just don't know. Arizona was Sanchi's last bomb. Okay. A while ago, last month. Jeez. Sanchi, man. You gotta get going. He's got to get going, because the Marlins, I think, will be looking to move Sanchez at the deadline. Jacob Marcy is in AAA, and man, he's tearing it up. Great defender, and he's on fire offensively. You move Sanchi, you could potentially, move Marcy from AAA into the majors and take his spot. Now, Vyrock says June 17th was his last bomb, but either way, it's still last month. See, I can't even remember. It's brutal. It's brutal. And for a power hitter, he needs to step it up. One of the questions that is kind of around this fan base and the Marlins as a whole is Nick Forez and his trade value. Does Nick Forez have value that the Marlins will move him at the deadline, move a catcher to get back a prospect in return? I'm going to talk about my thoughts on this situation right after this. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with your friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merchandise, or invite a bigger group to come out with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. I love Gametime. When it comes to buying tickets to go see the Marlins, to go to any baseball game, Gametime is the way to go because the all-in pricing is my favorite part, and the prices just continue to drop. You can literally wait last minute before you get your tickets and then buy them, and you see exactly what you pay for, and then it's in your wallet. It's in your Apple Wallet. It's delivered to your email. Super easy, super efficient. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I appreciate all the everyday listeners who are there Monday through Friday. Locked On Marlins is your place to be for all the daily Marlins coverage. Hit that subscribe button and tell your friends. If you enjoy the show and you know some other Marlins fans that are looking for that daily Marlins coverage, tell them about Locked On Marlins on all the major podcast platforms, and as well if you're watching on YouTube. Nick Forez, does he have value? So I'm gonna preface this before I get to the comments. The Fish on First Team, they had a show in which Nick Forez was brought up, and the room was divided, to say the least. A couple of them said, "Hey, there's no value there. Why would you trade him?" The other section, led by Kevin Burrell, said, "Yes, he does have value. Nick Forez is a catcher. He's not the best, but he still has value." This is where I stand. The value that Nick Forez brings to this team, I think, is worth more than potentially trading him for, as David says, some low-level prospects or a lottery ticket. He's a solid backup catcher. You're right, David. Forez isn't awful. The thing is, once you remove Forez to this team, or from this team, who are your catchers? Rookies, Liam Hicks and Augustin Ramirez, who's one of the worst catchers, if not the worst defensive catchers in baseball. And you'll be leading a pitching staff that potentially in the back half of the season is a lot younger. If Adam Mazur gets an extended look, you have Jansen Junk, who's enjoying a breakout season of sorts. I like Forez's veteran presence and experience behind the plate. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me right now, but this was a few months ago. This is a while ago. I tweeted out something. I should pull it up, where Nick Forez has like the fourth most games caught in Marlins history, which is crazy to me. I just think that Forez, he does good at what he does. He manages a pitching staff. He's able to just kind of go out there, do his thing. Offensively, it's whatever. He's hitting 240, 245, but he's not there for the offense. He's there to be that presence as a defender, where you're not relying on two rookies the rest of the season. Here's the thing, Oscar. Forez should be traded. We have Joe Mack in AAA. But he's in AAA. He's in AAA. That's the thing. He would be coming up, and there's an adjustment period, especially offensively. Yes, he's great defensively, but then you're back to the same position where you have three catchers. When are they going to move on from Augustin Ramirez is my question. LMF, trade Sanchez, trade Forez, in comes Troy, in comes Marcy, boom. So Marcy, yes. Marcy, I think, is going to get a call-up this season, without a doubt about it. Forez, I don't know how Troy would factor in there. This team doesn't want to call up Troy Johnson for whatever reason. It's a complete shame. Deborah, I agree. I think Agustin Ramirez is not very good at catching, and maybe we should think about full-time DH in the future with all the catchers we have. It just feels like that's the direction this team is going to go inevitably, right, Deborah? Like, Agustin Ramirez, while he's a great hitter, and I think he should be extended, is not a catcher. And they can try to fit the square in the round circle all they want. It's not going to fit, especially when you have Joe Mack in AAA, like Oscar was saying. Joe Mack is a much better defender than Agustin Ramirez. It's not even close. And his bat is almost major league ready. I expect Joe Mack to be on the roster in 2026. Am I saying that the Marlins should potentially keep Nick Forez next season just because of his veteran presence? No. No, I'm not saying that. But the rest of the season, the value that he has, what are we going to get? Who's going to pay for Nick Forez? What are we, a Florida Complex League player? You know, an unranked prospect? I don't know. I don't see the rush to trade somebody that isn't going to get you back anything. Now, here's the caveat to this, and I want to make this very clear. If you package Nick Forez with a bullpen arm or Jesus Sanchez as an extra bonus, maybe that's how you do it. Maybe. That's the only way I see Forez getting traded. If you trade Nick Forez by himself for a prospect, what's the point of doing that? Just keep him on the roster. Oscar, the thing with DLS is just swinging at everything. If he was performing, we could have a better first baseman. Yeah, so Davison De Los Santos, right? One of the more hyped prospects when we got him at the deadline a season ago. I mean, he was the home run king in the minor leagues. And this season, the big step forward for him was, can he cut down on the chase rate? Can he cut down the swing and miss? And so far, the answer is, not really. That's what's keeping him back from the major leagues, Oscar. The reason why Davison De Los Santos isn't starting in Miami is because he can't fix the issues that were the main concerns a year ago. There's always going to be questions with prospects. Always going to be questions. But that's why you got to work through them. Kyle Stowers a season ago couldn't hit the fastball. You can't hit the fastball in the majors, you're going to be toast. But guess what? He adjusted. He learned how to do it and do it consistently, and now he's hitting close to 300 on fastballs. It's awesome. It's awesome development. This season as a whole is about development. Developing these players, these young players. And what I'm really excited for this weekend, we got the MLB Draft. The MLB Draft, the first round is this Sunday. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. If you haven't already, go listen to my draft preview episode a couple days ago. I gave you my thoughts on who I think the Marlins should pick. It's a very uncharacteristic draft because we really don't know how the board's going to fall. I want the Marlins to draft Seth Hernandez. I think he is an absolute stud. He's a prep right-hander. You got a lot of risk with right-handers, especially out of the high school ranks. But if he falls to you at 7, I think you draft him. Or you got 3 prep shortstops, Billy Carlson, Eli Willits, JoJo Parker, all of whom very high upside. Willits and Parker, I started to lean a little bit more than Carlson, but then I've also heard that Carlson will be gone to the Pirates. There's a lot of people that think that he's a Pirate. So we'll see. As we wrap this up, Virox, elite comment right here. Jeremiah, do you think we should draft Chase Blake at 43? I think we should draft Chase Blake at number 7. But I need to make sure that LMF has put his name in the MLB Draft portal so he's eligible for this draft, because to me, that's what Peter Bendix needs. Peter Bendix needs Chase Blake at number 7. That's great, guys. Yeah, so Edward Cabrera, We got to hope he's okay. It's so frustrating that this potential injury happened at this time. And we just need to hope that it's not serious. I will tell you this, expect the possibility of an IL stint. I would also say this, don't rule out a trade if Edward Cabrera can come back before the deadline. But I do think he has to come back and pitch once or twice before the deadline. If he's out an extended amount of time, then he's probably not getting dealt. And the Marlins they got to readjust their plans at the end of July. That's going to do it for today's live edition of Locked On Marlins. I appreciate all the interaction and comments we've had. Until next time, guys, stay safe, stay locked on, and bonus, I'm planning on doing a live stream this Sunday during the draft. I hope you guys join me. Take care, guys.